Welcome to the Creature Cast, the official Console Creatures podcast. I'm your host today, Steve Egvar, and alongside me, as always, my good pal Bobby. How the heck are you today?
Doing well, Steve. How are you doing on this sunny, beautiful summer day in the middle of May?
I know, right? I don't know how to deal with it, you know?
My allergies are not happy. I've been struggling for my life with allergies.
Yeah.
It's not been fun, but you know what? I'll take it. Just, that one snowfall in February set me spiraling. So after
I feel the abuse of the weather. That's right. It just feels like it's going up and down, but I feel like we're at a solid. It's not even spring. We're teetering on summer at this point.
No, we've done away with spring in Canada. It's just fall and summer.
Fall and summer. That's it.
Because even winter was pretty mild. I feel until we had
except for that. Yeah, exactly.
And it was just like, well, there's your reminder.
Yeah, it just shut down the entire province.
It really shut up everything.
But no, I'm doing well. I mean, excited to talk about some games with you. We're on the heels of Summer Game Fest is almost on the heels of us. We've also got the Switch 2 coming around the corner. We're 3 weeks away from the time of recording. 3 weeks from the Switch 2, which I cannot believe. It's just sneaking up on us.
Sneaking up like Diddy Kong's new redesign,
his new teeth, his new little hat.
See what happens when Canadians get dental care.
That's right.
Diddy Kong gets teeth.
That's right. Yeah, Nintendo was like, "Hey, listen, we understand the importance of dental care, so we're giving Diddy some teeth.
Give him some teeth. That's what he needs. Not a new game, just some new teeth."
Yeah, I mean, Donkey Kong got the redesign, so I think it's only fair for Diddy.
The only thing I'm really upset about with that redesign is, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, is that it's not Seth Rogen. Like I am now when I hear Donkey Kong, it's Seth Rogen. So not having that opportunity to have Seth Rogen just star in Mario Kart World, just wasted opportunity.
That's right. I want to do some sick tricks with Donkey Kong and hear the laugh. I mean, Seth Rogen's in Call of Duty, so what are we doing?
Which makes literally no sense to me, but you know what? Go off. Whoever requested that, because that makes no sense.
No, but I'm here for it. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, well, I'm complaining because that's what we love to do here, especially.
We love to celebrate video games and complain about video games. It's one or the other.
That's what gamers do.
That's
Real
right.
Gamers complain.
Real gamers do complain, but they also get excited for a couple things, and I mean. Yeah, kicking things off, I really just want to continue our conversation on Doom: The Dark Ages. We put out a great review last week, including some really in-depth thoughts and opinions on the latest and greatest from id Software. But it's been now a week removed since we put out a review. I continued playing it. I continued to get all the achievements. I've completed the game through and through 100%. Got everything out of the way from this game. And I just want to emphasize for people who might not have listened to the episode how good of a game this is.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
It is. And I feel like there's some weird discourse going on.
There is, but you know what? It is valid. I'll give them that. There are some valid critiques.
Yes.
But I'm not agreeing with all of them. So, I mean, we can start with whichever ones you're seeing, and then I can kind of bounce off those. But,
of course.
There are some that I'm just I feel we have to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, for people who missed out on the episode, I just wanted to say that, I feel like there are some valid criticisms. I think that, the game does run a little slower. I even went back and, started looking at videos and gameplay videos of Doom Eternal and how fast the gameplay was of whether it's the gunplay, the verticality and everything like that. And I was like, wow, this is even faster than I thought it was when I started doing the comparisons between Eternal and now the Dark Ages. So not that I'm saying that I couldn't get over how slow it was. I do kind of appreciate the more boots on the ground perspective and using the shield and stuff like that. But it was just something that, was very stark and very in your face when you go back and you look at videos of Doom Eternal. But I do, for me, and I think both of us, we kind of agree that the story is pretty nonsensical. It's very loose. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go do a once the game finally came out, like I started crawling
Okay.
on like Wikipedia, and
Yeah.
that's how I figured out what the story actually was trying to do, because
Sure.
it would made sense, because if you haven't played this game, if you're listening, like it's very disjointed. Like the cutscenes, I feel like they were added in maybe like once they figured out what they want to do with the gameplay.
Right.
Doesn't make sense to me. So like you'd have like a cutscene with dialogue, and you kind of hear these characters interact, and then it would just cut, and then it just move back into gameplay, and it wouldn't like fade in and out like a normal game would, and it just made the experience just so disjointed for myself, and like I'm sure lots of people who were reviewing it felt the same. And
Yeah. I feel like there is a pivotal moment towards the last third of the game when the
Yeah.
story does start to become more coherent, where it is, okay, we're going from this place to this place to this place, and now we're
Yeah.
at the final confrontation, and then it all kind of stacks up. But leading until that, I was like, we're, to your
Yeah.
point, we're mishmashing gameplay, or missions, and then cutscene, and it just feels like it's a dartboard approach,
Yeah.
where we're just throwing things at the wall, and hopefully it all comes together. But there is a moment when the story is like, aha, okay, we're going from point A to point B to point C, and it's all kind of making sense. But yeah,
as much as I did like the gameplay, which like, and we can talk about that after. I'm like, I know that I've seen some fouled stuff. Yeah, the story was just such an afterthought. It really made the first like 10 hours just kind of it was just a struggle to get through them. It was just like, okay, well, we know this cutscene's coming. I'll put the control down. I'll try paying attention, because that's the only way I will. But like once I got through, I was like, well, I don't even care at this point. Just put me back in the gameplay. Let me just start fretting again. Like I'm over it. But then you get to a certain point where it's like, okay, things are starting to get really serious. Like people are dying left and right, and now things are like coming to a head. And like like you said, it doesn't really come together until basically 15, maybe 20 hours. And I think, and that's kind of where my playthrough kind of ended. It was about 25 hours. So yeah, about halfway, even more.
Yeah, I would say just a little over halfway is when it all starts coming together. But yeah, and aside from that, I think the game runs phenomenally. I think the shield mechanics are really fun, and really adds a lot to what Doom is, because it's taking a more boots on the ground approach. You're using the shield in a very dynamic way, and I really appreciated that. What I'm seeing a lot online, though, is people really complaining about the shield in a weird way.
In a weird way, exactly. It's and like let's talk about that, because like
yeah,
it just makes
please.
no sense to me.
I feel like the game is almost getting the Spider-Man 2 treatment.
Yeah,
and what I mean by that is that people are actively going out of their way to dislike this game for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, like they're finding things like I saw one where it was like the shield's too big for the screen, and
that's an insane thing to say.
I'm like, you can change the FOV.
Yeah,
that's really your problem
on console. Yeah,
on console, but the shield's covering up too much of the screen. Like what? Like there are valid critiques, and then there are critiques that are just there to basically shitpost or shit talk.
Sure.
Yep. Like it's just like, no, the shield is such an instrumental tool to this game that like any adjustments I feel would probably ruin it. Like, it was so perfect by launch. It was like I would love to see how many iterations they went through to get it this perfect. And
it feels perfect. Like I said in the review, I really do put it up against the God of War Leviathan axe in terms of how satisfying it is to use.
And like we saw kind of in like that, I think it was Raising Kratos, that documentary for God of War, like what they went through to get the axe to work. So yeah, if that's kind of the struggle they went through, I would love to see what it got to push through to get this thing working, because it's such a I can't picture the Doom series without it now. Like I would love to see another game, let alone maybe a couple expansions. Give you like a DLC with the shield, and if we really have to do it with it, that's fine. I'll mourn for a bit, but like it's such a cool tool to have. I mean, like 20, like I think there's like what 13, 14 guns. Like as much as I love the guns, like the shield was like the thing I used the most with everything. Like I used it for everything. And
it's just very thoughtful, like the ability to like rush an enemy hit them with it or throw an enemy to stun them.
Yeah.
There's the one weapon, I think it's here I am gonna mess up the names of them, but there's one weapon in particular that you can like fire into it, and as it's spinning into the enemy, it's like ricocheting and like getting a spread shot to all like nearby enemies. There's a challenge for it and everything, and I thought that was like really, really interesting to use.
Was it the Retaliator? Maybe
It's
the
the auto.
Retaliator's like a spread.
It's like the auto rifle of the
Oh
game.
yeah. So maybe
Yeah.
it is the Retaliator. I feel like it is
I
because
really don't remember.
because the dual mode has like a larger spread. It goes like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like, that's the thing. Like, and they complement each other. It's like people don't realize that, and it's just like you don't pick one or the other. You use them together. But like, if you don't want to, like, you can just focus on the shield, and the shield is its own, crux, and it does all this stuff. And like, I don't know. I'm seeing things like where it just don't sit right with me. And it's just like, come on, guys. It's not eternal. It's not eternal. It doesn't need to be eternal. I know that was like the throws and like the highs of the series, but
Sure.
like we're stepping back in time. Like, I mean, that needs to be considered. Like, there's all these little things that like you're just nitpicking at this point. Like, if you want a new Doom game, I understand. I want a new Doom game, but we got a new Doom game, and it's incredible. It's so good. It's one of my favorite games this year, and like story beats aside, like it's just so much fun to play. Like I didn't have a moment where I was frustrated. I didn't have a moment where I was just like, beaten down. Like I was always ready to just like rip and tear into everything that throwing at me. I was loving finding all the hidden secrets. I love, going through the beaten path and finding the keys and like the skulls. Like, it was just so cool.
Well, it's just the classic Doom gameplay. That gameplay loop of like some
like
environmental puzzles here and there, just enough to kind of, massage the gameplay and make it feel not as samey all the time.
They weren't even like difficult. Like that's the best thing about it. Like, it was never a moment where it was like blueprints level of puzzle. It was just like,
right, yeah,
just oh, how do I get up there? Oh, there's a cube that I have to get to. Okay, how do I get there? Oh,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
there's a chain up there that I have to throw my shield at, knock it down, boom,
things
boom.
Make sense. Like even the pathways, like you go through one pathway, like you search for like things underneath like the edges of the map, and you go down. Like I love how it's working out.
Sure.
It's all these little small things. Like I forget that when you have a smartly designed game like this, it's like it's just it's perfect. It's the perfect experience. It's not like Assassin's Creed where I actually went back to play some more of it yesterday after I finished my platinum run. I guess I call it. I'm playing on Xbox, but like my platinum run. But like I put it down, I went back to Assassin's Creed. Like I just like, this is too much. This is just too complicated. It's just not as intuitive, and like I understand they're different kind of game, but like just it when you're parrying with the shield for so long and you go back to Assassin's Creed, you're trying to parry, and it's so like,
oh my god, yeah,
stiff. I'm like, no, I kept dying. I was like, no, this is not what I'm used to at this point. But like, it's just everything about Doom, the Dark Ages, is just so wonderfully combed through. It's finessed. It's just like you get it's like a perfect latte on a Sunday morning.
Sure, I completely agree. I think
like you wake up.
It's such a video game, and I mean that in like
it's the most famous in the world.
Broad sense possible, just because like it's everything you want out of a video game. It's fun, it's intuitive, it respects your time. It has, I think, the most amount of like you were saying, guns and gameplay features without feeling too overwhelming or too samey. I feel like every gun in the game offers like just the right amount of like variations in terms of how you want to play, whether it's the shredder or the combat shotgun, the rocket launcher. They're all different in their own way, and they all kind of like complement the gameplay and give you options of how you want to use them. And yeah, the collectibles are there, but there's not too many. They're very reserved. And yeah, I feel like for what Doom is supposed to be from, at very top level, I think Doom the Dark Ages really does tick off all the boxes. I just think that at a very objective standpoint, the story just isn't really all there. And that's kind of okay, because Doom's never really had a story. And if you want to call the story between, Doom 2016 into Doom Eternal, the story's kind of been nonsense. It's just been an excuse to get Doomslayer into a level and kicking ass and taking names. And I feel like they went a little too heavy on here. We're gonna give you all these characters. We're gonna give you, voice dialogues and try to make you feel for these characters. I didn't feel for anyone. I didn't really care aside from Doomslayer. I thought some of the story beats for Doomslayer, I was like, this is pretty rock and roll. This is pretty fucking sick. But otherwise, I don't really care who's in the story. I just want to get into the gameplay.
And rightfully so. Like I was kind of hoping that maybe they would flesh Doomslayer a little bit out, and like even just like in small ways, but like he's literally the same character. Yeah, he doesn't really even like, and like no spoiler, like in the second half when things I thought would be turning around, he literally doesn't even change from the first half of the game. It's literally just same character. Which whatever, it's Doomslayer, I get it, but. Right. Reading up on the lore is pretty cool. Like I know all the codex stuff is there. It's not as intuitive as the older games and like that. But now that the game's out and people are like diving into the codec and like putting together story summaries, like the story of Doom is pretty damn cool. It's just I wish we had like a Borderlands style Doom game where there is like some kind of like story. I mean, even Borderlands. Like maybe a Destiny, a Bungie. I don't know. Like what kind of game would do more with it? Where there is like a story, like an overarching story. I feel like even like a Division, something where it's just like open world, and like there's Doom. It's Doom focused, or like tie into Quake. Something could be where I would like some kind of story for this. It would be cool to have like a narrative driven game, which I know that they're saying this one is. It's really not. It really is not. There's no narrative. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean it's very loose. it's very, very loose up until it doesn't want to be anymore, and then they kind of just harp on a story, which I mean is fine. I think it adds a little bit, but I wish it was a little more coherent from the get-go.
Yeah. And then the other thing I've just heard people talk about is the encounters. And I'm sure I'm not sure. We basically agree with a lot of stuff. Like I do love the encounters. I love how they're set up. But the one thing I've read online and I'm seeing now is just, it's just like you move through the map, you get to this encounter, and it's usually the same setup where it's like, you start with like the cannon fodder enemies, and then you get the shielded guys. And then you have the big guys behind them, and it's just like, yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, all the encounters were similar in how they were assembled.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I hated it or if I love it, but thinking back on it, like I have to say, I'm once I get the platinum, I'll probably like be sure, but like maybe something where they could have shaken it up a little bit, where it's one encounter where it's basically just the massive enemies, and then the next one's all shields, and like they're different levels of the shields. There's something to shake it up because everything was always felt the same.
I do agree that yes, a lot of like all of the encounters kind of follow a formula, but I think that's done on purpose because they all kind of feed into each other. And what I mean by that is like the cannon fodder enemies are supposed to be there so they provide health. The mid tier are the ones that you do the special attack where you click the right thumbstick, and those are the ones that the glory kills or the melee kills and stuff like that, and that provides shield, health, and ammunition. And so you're kind of just like replenishing yourself constantly so that when you get to
the loop is there.
Yeah, the loop is there, but I think it's all very thoughtful because I think, and of course I'm not a developer, and I'm sure that id Software really did methodically think of this. If they put you in a like a monster closet where it is just the mid tier or even like the upper tier, I don't think that you would have had the loop of being able to replenish your health quick enough, especially on those harder levels. Like I went through on, what is it, Ultra Nightmare, the second from the hardest, and there are multiple times where I'm like scathing by with 5% health through some of these encounters. It's very difficult at a lot of times.
That was the thing. I think that was my biggest complaint. It's just like the health situation was, when it came scarce, it was scarce, and it was just like, and up to that point, I was always like in an abundance of health, but like then you get to a counter, it's like, well, where's all the health that I was literally just looking at? It's gone, and it's just like, I get it. But yeah, I mean,
Personally, I like that because it does force you to be a little more methodical of like, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to kill this enemy in a way that gives me
yeah,
health versus this one, which I'm going to go for shield and ammunition. It makes you think a lot more and not just, hey, I'm just going to mow all these enemies down the same way, because I think that would get largely boring, but also it's not really intuitive to progression and the difficulty spikes and stuff like that. I think if you are playing on more like the base bone, like the story mode, for instance, I think you can just get through this game just playing however you want, and you don't really have to. And that's when it does become a little samey, because you don't really have to have that thoughtfulness in how you're going to execute some of these enemies. But what I will say is, and to your point of like, oh, some of these encounters aren't too samey. There are, and I'm really misremembering what they call them, but there's these branches that grow out of the ground. They have like the Basham symbol, like the green circle on them, and those open up like the more difficult combat situations where it is like, hey, we're throwing you like the top tier enemies at you right out of the gate, and you're kind of stuck in this a smaller arena. I thought those ones, when they're few and far between, but when they do pop up, really do kind of give you more of a challenge than
yeah.
the golden path combat scenarios.
Those were cool. I do like those. I definitely like those. What's I gonna think? I'm just trying to think of like things I just like I've been seeing online. I'm just trying to go. I'm actually combing through a list of just random stuff on like Twitter.
Yeah.
It's just like the big things are it's mostly the encounters that I kind of am agreeing with, because everything else has just been really good. I do want to say I do miss the verticality, and
Me too.
I'm gonna probably play Eternal over the weekend just because I want to go back to it. But like the jump is cool, but man, once you had that verticality and you had like all the tools like the grappling hook, like I miss that stuff. That
Me
was
too.
so much fun. And like as much as I love the shields, if we're getting a new Doom game, give me the shield and the grappling hook.
That would be sick.
And just
That would be very
that's it.
cool.
Like that's all I would want. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else I have to say about Doom. Like I feel like it's a pretty easy platinum. I mean,
Very easy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only stuff I have left is just mastery stuff, and
Sure.
I think getting a couple more of the toys. But like, other than that, like I feel like it's a breezy game. If you really want to get this thing done, you could do it in a week. And
Easily, yeah.
it's a
I
great
think
game for that.
I'm gonna go into my Xbox app right now, because I do think that with the achievement list kind of ironed out, I
Yeah.
probably topped the game off at like 30 hours, I want to say.
Yeah, I was about 25 when I clocked my playthrough. So yeah, I figure like that because you can. I know for like a platinum run, like you want to basically mess with the accessibility settings. So like have your damage triple your damage to enemies and like get stuff like that.
Oh,
And
I didn't even think of that.
yeah, there's just like a whole like thing of it was on Power Pick, so basically it tells you how to run through everything. So like
Yeah.
the big challenge I saw was if you want to get this game done in one playthrough, don't upgrade anything the entire game. And then
Interesting.
the last second, as long as you have like 6,000 gold and all the rupees and gems, you get the achievement at the end. But
Right. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun going back. It went back to the
29
first
and a
one.
half hours for
Yeah,
me.
so that's
Yeah.
not too bad.
No. Very
But-
accessible. Yeah, like I said, it respects your time. Absolutely. And for a Game Pass game, I think that's the best kind of experience. It's
That's the
something you
kicker
can.
for me. It's a Game Pass game. Like people are like I know a lot of people who are just like against Game Pass, and to their point and to understand, like I know that not everyone wants to play Game Pass; they want to buy their games, but like there's no better value in gaming right now. Like things
Right
are gonna
now,
get so expensive, things are getting more expensive, and it's just like it hits perfectly. It's not like it's like an investment of your time. It's just investment of your money, I should say. It's like if you have a week, this is the best way to do it. Like if you have kids, this is a great way to unwind. If you have a really stressful job, like come home, play some Doom. You don't have to worry about buying it. You just stream it to your phone. You can stream it to your PC. You can just play on your Xbox. Like it's so great. It's just so easy to play. No stress. Like that. And then, like I said, counter to the point, like I'm playing so many games that are stressful right now for the site, and games we reviewed in the past, and it's just like these are stressful. I love having a game where I don't need to exert my brain for more than like 10-15 minutes at a time.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a great segue to the other game I think both of us have been putting a little bit of time into, which is Oblivion Remastered. And I mean, just goes to show Xbox Game Pass kind of on a tear this year. I think this is one of the strongest years for Xbox Game Pass between, Oblivion, Blueprints, Clear, Obscure, Doom, and now Oblivion Remastered as well. Great value there. But yeah, I was super stoked on Oblivion when it was first, shadow dropped, shadow revealed. It's been long rumored, but when Bethesda GameWorks really did show it off a few weeks ago, I was astounded by it's up-res, it's remaster on the new engine, Unreal Engine, and yeah, I've been going through it slowly but surely. I've just been kind of like chipping away at it. It's so funny because I loved Oblivion when it first came out. It was one of the first 360 games I bought. I thought I replayed it a bunch. I thought it was just masterful, and it really did give me a similar sense as like Fallout 3 or even like Breath of the Wild, where you get into this open world and you're like, wow, I can do. At the time, I can do anything that I really want. And it's so funny now looking back at it, where there are certain things that I do remember, like I remember like the back of my hand, and then there are a ton of things that I've just conflated and kind of mashed into memories of Skyrim, where I was like, wait a minute, this town didn't look the same. And I was like, oh no, I'm thinking of a different city in Skyrim. Or there's a different missions or quests that I'm doing in Oblivion. I was like, I thought this was a Skyrim quest or something. So it is funny how they've kind of like woven themselves in my memories. But a lot of the game and a lot of the systems and a lot of the points of interest, they kind of just feel like home. And so it's been really nice to kind of see them again in this kind of brand new coat of paint. Very impressive coat of paint. I'm really impressed by what the team has been able to do with this remaster, and to keep it as close to the chest as they have, and then just kind of drop it right after Avowed is kind of astounding. Like as far as it being a game of Western RPGs, this is my year. This has been great.
It's been a great year for that. I'm kind of torn on Oblivion. Like, I do love it. Great game. Will never be anything less than it already is. Like, it is iconic and all that, but like just going back to it, like it's hard to go back to it despite this new coat of paint. Some of the changes that are under the hood. Like, I do love the new UI. I do love the fact that the leveling's different now and it's a little bit more streamlined. But ultimately, it's like it's a 20-year-old game, and like had it been a true remake instead of a remaster, and I know they're saying it's just a new remaster. I would have liked that, just shake up in the combat, maybe just even if it was more Skyrim-esque. Like, I would have preferred that. Like, I know
what is it that you're missing?
It's just, I don't know. It just feels not as like Bethesda games are very clunky in themselves. It's just I don't know. It's just the hitbox detection doesn't feel as even intuitive as like I remember it being in like Skyrim.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm playing as a battle mage, so it's like
me too.
And like it's as great as like the characters are, the class. I love the class. It's just I don't know. It's not connecting as much as it did the first time, and that's on me because games have changed very much since 2006. But I recently went back and play. I've been playing recently. It was like last year I went back and did, and there's like a fan mod, the Endurio mod, and like I was playing that, and like it's a great shakeup of the Skyrim engine. So it's like you have that, and it's like as clunky as that engine is, like it's still my favorite Bethesda game, just because even with the issues that I had, like it just I remember it just being fun to play. and like this game is fun to play. Like, it is. Don't get me wrong. It's just I don't know. It's just not connecting as much as like I said, Skyrim or even more recently like Avowed. And like I know that's
Sure.
like big difference. Like it's a 20-year gap, but like it's just I don't know. It's better in the rearview mirror for me. It's like I remember what it was, what it meant to me 20 years ago. But like it's just like for me to play older games is really hard. And like I don't know if you're like this, but like I would love to go back and play all the games I grew up with as a kid. But like going back now, it's like a lot of them don't respect your time. Like there's just things that they do where it's just like, come on, speed it up a little bit. Like just like I want these modern day technical things they've added, like auto speed, like 3 times speed, or like better auto saving, stuff like that. And like this game has all that, but like it's still got that the jank to it. So like that's the other thing, is there's just a lot of jank to this game. And I'm playing on PlayStation, and I know that it's got that issue that Skyrim did, where the longer you play it, obviously it gets harder to play, and it starts like affecting the frame rate, and
Yeah,
it's crashing all the time. I've had like 6 or 7 crashes since I've
that's
been
crazy.
Yeah, and it's just like I'm not doing anything different. Like I'm just pickpocketing, or I'm like picking locks, or I'm in the midst of a battle and the thing will just like freeze and just say error report, and it's like, okay, well, what the hell? And my save is definitely ballooning. I think it's pretty big right now. I think the last time I checked,
No way.
2, maybe 3 gigs. So it's doing that thing again. So and that's
Oh,
what happened with
interesting.
my PlayStation 3 Skyrim save. It got so big that I couldn't even play the game anymore.
It's all those wheels of cheese that you're dropping.
Oh man, I stole every brick of cheese I could find, and like I put them into one. I actually did do this. I don't know why. I thought it was the funniest thing, but like I had a treasure chest of cheese, and they would just go
Yeah.
there and put cheese in there.
Yeah, we all had our little thing. Yeah. No, I agree with you, because I think that Oblivion Remastered, for as fun as it is, because I do think that it is fun to kind of go
It's
back
super fun.
and
Super fun.
reminisce of what games or Western RPGs were like back then. I do kind of get stuck in some way where I'm almost expecting today's fundamentals to be in this game, where you're going through a dungeon and it's like, oh, I should just not even pay any attention to the loot that these enemies are dropping, to what's in this little chest, because the only thing that matters is the chest at the very end of the dungeon. And that's such a sign of its time. That's the loop of games back then, where it was, there are no secret passages, there are no
it's just
items that really matter up until the very end. And even then, when you get to the final chest in a dungeon or a cave, you get some gold, you might get a cool little sword, and that sword probably isn't better than the one you have, but it might have some fire damage to it. And that's just kind of the extent of that game. It's not really like that anymore, where you could just randomly come across this super cool battle axe or a super cool That's odd. And so I feel like there's still like these weird fundamentals that the game has. I also feel like for some of the guild quests, I'm going through the fighters guild and the mages guild, and I'm like, they're just throwing you into all of these different like fetch quests. That's essentially all they are. Go over here if you're doing the fighters guild. Go over here, beat up some trolls, come back, do it all over again. And there's just copious amounts of these. And I don't remember it being like this in the game, but maybe again I'm looking. I maybe it's just nostalgia, but I thought it was a game that I could play through way quicker. But I feel like there's a much deeper time investment in Oblivion. But I mean, I'm not upset at that. I feel like this is a game that I will just continue to chip away at, but I thought it was way more of a condensed experience than I think it actually is now.
Yeah, no, that's the thing I remember, is just it still is. It was a big game even 20 years ago, and that's kind of what people, I mean, always were talking about. I remember it's just you're getting a lot of game for this price and blah blah blah. And that's always the thing I remember hearing on like reviews. Is like, this is a very lengthy game, and rightfully so. A lot of the main quest lines are amazing. Like, I mean, I don't know if I've done like the whole Dark Brotherhood. If you started it, or like that's kind of one of my favorites. I love that one.
Sure.
And then you get the Shivering Isles, which is probably one of the best quest lines in all of the Skyrim or all the Scrolls games. So like that's what I'm working towards. I want to get
nice. Yeah.
set up for that, and then that's where I want to start chipping away. Like I wish there was a way to, even on console, just use like the commands where I could just like quickly level up, run to this section, finish what I need to do, start this quest line, get to where I need to do, start the actual stuff I want to start doing. But like it's not possible. So I mean, like you said, you have to chip away. So like I'll maybe play like an hour a day, get bored, and then I'm like, okay, well, what's next? And then that's kind of where games like Doom were perfect. Like it was just like, okay, well, I'll play Doom for a couple hours, and then well, I'm done here, so I'm gonna go back to Oblivion, and like that's kind of the best way to play this game. And like I don't know if I'm gonna finish it by even the fall, but I'm gonna do my best. But it's just a game where it's just like, you know what, I've played it multiple times at this point. I've played like 4 times, start to finish. In a year where we're getting not only Avowed but the Outer Worlds 2.
I know.
I can probably hold off for this style of game.
Sure, that's totally fair. I think if you're itching for this kind of style of Western RPG, you could probably just hold off on until Outer Worlds 2, or if you haven't, try Avowed, because I think that it is the better version of what Oblivion tries to be.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to take away anything Oblivion is, but I mean, Avowed, I think, is just a much more contemporary and succinct experience nowadays. When you look back at a 20-year-old game compared to this, I think Avowed just does what it needs to do better.
Yeah, fully agree with you on that. I'm just like I said, I wish there was a little bit of mod support, like just something just to speed it up. My thing with even the Fallout games, like I love just randomly booting up like New Vegas, but like the one thing I'll always do is I'll mod a one-shot pistol in all the caps I can find, and then that's all I need in the game. Like I don't really care for like finding all the weapons and all the guns and all that stuff. Just give me like a little pistol where I can kill everything in one shot, and like just let me play the game. That's all I care about. Just give me the tools to just play how I want, and that's kind of been how I've done it. And like I wish these games gave you that option on console, but whatever. Hopefully, maybe we'll see the official mod shop return like a Skyrim had. So
yeah, maybe. You definitely never know when it comes to Bethesda and their support of their games. And then Bobby, I really want to know, you've been playing ARC Raiders, and I know you brought it up recently on the show.
Yeah.
And I just want to know all your thoughts on this.
So I mean, I believe it's by the same guys that made the finals. I think that's their game, the other game.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. It's I'm not a big extraction shooter. I don't know.
Sure.
Like, what do you feel of it? Like, how do you feel about extraction shooters?
I mean, to be honest, I haven't really played all that many of them. I mean, there was Rainbow Six Extraction. I've never played Tarkov, and then I tried the Marathon Alpha the other week. So that's the extent of my and I guess Division
counts. That's kind of where I gravitate towards. Like that's kind of what I want in an extraction shooter. But
sure.
Yeah, this is another extraction shooter, but for whatever reason, it resonated with me a lot more than even Marathon.
Interesting.
I think the one's Hunt Showdown. I think the one that everyone's been playing. Yeah, those games bounce off them pretty quickly. But ARC Raiders is it is like I said, it is an extraction shooter, but it's unlike any of them I played before. Like it's just like it's very Dark Souls-esque in how it's presented to you. Like there's really not much in terms of story. You're kind of just dropped into this world with your character creation, and then you just kind of let's start with the beginning. Like so, like the closed beta that I was dropped into, I did a couple days. I did a playthrough for just a weekend. But like the way you're dropped into this world is like, here's your character. Here's here's your tools. Explore. So like the first 10 minutes, like you're just kind of walking around this dilapidated, it's like a junkyard, and everything's kind of explained to you. So like if you shoot your guns, it'll make sounds, like you'll attract enemies. If you use your it's like a hammer / like a crowbar, which because it's an extraction game, you're trying to grab loot. So if you use this crowbar too often, it's going to make noise and it's going to attract other raiders to you. And that's kind of where my first mistake was, because I'm like, well, it's a like, who's gonna come find me? Like, I've had this is where this game where it's like they present these gameplay elements to you, and like they never really come to fruition. But like as soon as this mission says, um, don't use these tools too often or you're going to attract attention. The next thing I know, like I open this loot canister and I'm knocked unconscious. Some guy came out from behind me and knocked me out.
Okay.
And and then your character wakes up, like, well, in game it's like whatever, like an hour later, but like he wakes up, all my stuff is gone. I have literally nothing but a pack of health, and basically that I don't know if that was supposed to happen, but like I ended up dying pretty quickly after that because I had nothing to survive. Because basically, ARC Raiders is this extraction shooter where you're fighting these massive robots called arcs, and they look like spiders. And some of them fly in the air, and that's kind of what the whole premise is. Like you're fighting this like post-apocalyptic world against these massive robots that are always on the hunt for people. So like if you're in a building, like you're looking for loot, you're looking for health, you're looking for all these little scraps to create weapons. But like as you're doing it, there's arc turrets that kind of follow you around. There's like ones that look like BB-8, like a little rolling ball that's shooting at you as you're trying to get away from it. And then while all this is happening, there are other players on the map, and you don't know where they are because it's a pretty massive map. So like there's like a dam level where you're all trying to get to this dam. A little bit further down the map, there's like a refinement center where there's more loot. So you kind of have to pick and choose where you want to go. So you have you got to play solo. You can play with two other players on your team.
Okay,
I've done both. It's very highly recommended to play with other people because I was playing by myself, and I went to the refinement center just because I wanted just to see what was there as a solo player. The first 3 times I was just a bullet sponge. Like I died on the spot. This robot spotted me. I had nothing but like the basic weapon. They killed me on the spot. The second time I loaded up, I was with 2 other players. We defeated the one robot, and then as we were cleaning up and just stripping all these robots of their parts, another gang just basically came up behind us and killed us all there and took all our stuff. So, well, it's that game of cat and mouse is like you have to be aware of your surroundings, making sure that nothing's around you, between people or robots, and then it's just a game where it feels like a Dark Souls game. Like everything's out to get you. And like I love that about this game because even when you're trying to extract, like I don't think I had one game where I successfully extracted.
Oh no way!
I constantly died, and like I wasn't upset because it was a beta one, but like you're given all these items to basically just keep going. So like in the beta, as soon as you get back to base, to like, well, you died. Here's all these items. You can just keep going. So I would always craft new weapons. You can craft better weapons. You can obviously better guns. You can craft like stuff that offsets your death, so you have like another chance to basically, if you die, you can come back.
Okay.
But the cool thing about this game is just like the fact that like there's people always out there to get you, and you just don't know where they're gonna come from, right? Yeah. It's not just like, it's kind of like the Division. You know what? Division is probably the best way to compare it because like the Division, when you're in the Dark Zone, like it's cool.
Terrifying,
and that tension in the Dark Zone was always just like, well, I have all this loot, and I'm obviously you and I want to get to the extraction zone, but like, are these guys going to come up behind us and kill us, or are we going to just agree to not to kill each other and extract together?
Right. No, exactly. And it's also the risk reward, right? Where it's like, ooh, we have X amount of time left in the round. Am I going to go hit up this one last building before we try to extract, or do we get out now in hopes that there's no one around? I don't hear any gunshots or anything. It's stressful, but I do appreciate that kind of risk reward system that's in these kinds of games.
And that's the kind of thing I feel like a lot of the extraction shooters are just missing, that tension.
Yeah.
And this is probably the closest thing I felt since like the original Division. Like the original Division's Dark Zones were probably my favorite. I fell off in Division 2 just because it never hit that high I felt playing the Division. But it's really cool. Like I honestly feel like if there's going to be one extraction shooter that survives, I have a really good feeling about ARC Raiders.
Okay.
And more so, I've been playing the finals. I started playing it on Xbox Game Pass this week, actually. And I've only done a couple a couple sessions or whatever it is, like a couple of the because it's like a basically a game show where you have to extract money in this case. But
yeah.
the game, the shooting is so good in these games. Like it's clear that that they've done their work, and then once you know that Embark Studios is made of people who worked on like Battlefield. Like Battlefield's some really good gunplay. But yeah, I mean, ARC Raiders, like I really want this game to succeed. It's just so much fun, and like just trying. Like I want to do a successful run. Like I hope there's like another beta, but I'm like adamant I'm going back, getting to the extraction zone, getting all my loot, and just seeing where it takes me. But like it's really cool. Like even in one session, I towards the end, I just basically loaded up the map. I went to this area where they're saying like there's bandages here. There's all these things you want to collect to bring back to base, and like I went there, and I put my controller down for like 2 minutes just because I had to go get something at the front door, and I come back and some guy just found me, stole my stuff, but like and just wiped me out. And like I love that kind of stuff. It's just like you can't put the game down. Like there are passive games like obviously single player games where you can just kind of
course
space out for a minute or put your control down and look at your phone. But this game here, like I didn't look at my phone once. I was basically like all eyes on me, like who's coming from where, because encounters are intense. And even with the very bare minimum between my crowbar and these very like obviously put together guns that are just hobbled together from scraps, like when you come across an encounter against two other guys and like you're trying to like get behind them, and like that tense feeling is so cool. There's no other game that's kind of replicated that since, like I said, the Division. Like I don't know how like it's gonna last this game, but like I feel like it's super unique, and like I'm really rooting for this team and ARC Raiders, because it's just like it's cool. It's so cool. It's a really cool game.
Okay. Well, so I have to ask you this now. We brought it up a couple times, but do you think that because you think that you're at least a little positive on ARC Raiders as it stands, do you think that there's room for both ARC Raiders and Marathon this year?
No. You know what? I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
Because I played Marathon's beta and I bounced off that so quickly. I honestly
Interesting.
I've lost all interest in this game. I have no interest in Marathon, and despite having that iconic Bungie gunplay, ARC Raiders is punching up, man. ARC Raiders is way better, and like I know you can't really say that, but there's two closed betas. One I spent easily 10-15 hours, and the other one I spent maybe 2 or 3, and like I could not care less about it.
Okay. No, that's interesting, because I played Marathon probably around the same amount of time, probably 3 hours, maybe 4 if I'm being a little more generous.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I came away with a greatly positive impression. I was like, okay, I definitely want to play more. I definitely want to play with, I want to see where all the systems are in place.
For sure. You know what? These games are obviously going to be better with friends, but like even the people I played with, they were good. Even I'm talking about Marathon. Like the people I played with were good.
Yeah.
Like, they were following objectives and following quests, but like it was just so boring. Like you're going from building to building, you're raiding.
Yeah, I was playing with a great team. I had actually a ton of fun playing with who I was playing with and everything. It wasn't really that. It was more so by the time you get out of it and you're leveling up your character, you're getting rewards and stuff. I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm in a closed alpha. I don't really care about the progression. I want to see what Marathon kind of offers in terms of an overall progression system and overall take some ownership over what's happening in this game, because there became a point where, again, 3 hours in, maybe 4 hours in, we got into the loop of, okay, we died, we lost all our loot, going back in, no loot. I was like, I don't really care now, again, of regaining all this like high valued loot and everything, because I have no ownership over any of it, because it all goes away after the alpha's closed. So I think that a lot of these games, sure, a lot of these closed alphas and betas, they're great at showing you and proving itself in terms of a gameplay focused perspective, it doesn't really go a long way for proving the longevity of a game, because it's just I have no ownership over anything that's happening in these closed alphas and betas. So I'm interested to try Arc Raiders. It doesn't have a release date yet, correct?
No, there's nothing that I'm aware of,
No.
but it feels way more put together than Marathon.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Just because there's just so much to do, and like graphically,
sure.
it looked. I think it looked better than Marathon, and like I don't want to be that guy where it looks better this and this, but like it just felt way more complete.
Sure.
If you're gonna pick a game on day one, like if I had to pick one, it would say this one, just because like there's just story beats whatever they're doing aside. Start to finish, the experience was complete there. It felt really good.
Interesting.
And it's just like the small things, like if you get shields in this game, so like you can upgrade your shields, you can get better shields, but like if you want to get your better shields, you got to go to like I said, the refinement center, and then you got to find the technological floor, and you got to loot for the batteries in that section, and then you got to take those back to your base, and then you got to look at the recipes to upgrade, and it's like that whole loop is way better.
Okay,
It's
interesting.
stuff like that. It's just small things. Like if you want a specific gun and you want to get say like a really good sniper rifle, you can find them, but like the better ones are obviously ones you craft. So you got to find the specific like scope and like all these tools you need to upgrade your weapons. And like you can craft your band-aids. You can craft all these things. There's so many things to craft in this game. I do like that kind of thing where it's just like it's not just an extraction shooter, but you're also spending the time to bring all that loot back and then use it to upgrade all your systems, all your weapons, all your tools. It's all there. And that's what I liked about it. It's just like it feels more complete.
Yeah. No, that's great. Great to hear. It's definitely going to be a game that's on my radar as soon as we get a proper release date. I definitely want to try it because I do intrinsically feel like I'm missing something when it comes to extraction shooters. And I feel like as much as, I love battle royales, I love competitive multiplayer games, don't really love hero-based shooters. I put my time into them. Don't really like Overwatch. I don't really like Marvel Rivals. Extraction shooters are still the one subgenre that I feel like I haven't really given its due. Although I have played, The Division and Rainbow Six Extraction and a little bit of Marathon, I just feel like I'm still missing something, and I feel like maybe I will end up liking them if I give them a little more time.
That's the thing. Like everyone has like their their niche games and like things they want to play. I have like my Call of Duty. I have like there's a game for every category for me.
Of course,
there's nothing for extraction shooter. And like I feel like if I'm gonna pick one, it's gonna be this, and it's great. I feel like more people need to play it. I know it's on a lot of people's radar, but like I hope that there's I fully expect we're gonna get like an open beta announcement at Summer Game Fest, and then it'll just be like coming in the fall. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing outside of Call of Duty
that's the big one, right? It's kind of it's an awkward year because you have Marathon releasing in I believe August or September, and then you have Call of Duty assumedly releasing in October. So for Arc Raiders, which do you kind of try and combat? Do you kind of combat Marathon and say, hey, we're the better extraction shooter, come play with us? Or do you go up against Call of Duty and you're like, well, we're not a competitive multiplayer shooter, we're an extraction shooter, totally different, come play over here? And I feel like either one's not great, but I feel like, to your point, what you just said, if I had to pick, I would probably go up against Marathon and just kind of prove myself, sharpen my teeth a little bit and just kind of get ahead of it.
And that's what it comes down to, right? Like, honestly, at the end of the day, like, it's Bungie, God bless, they've had some really great games, but like Marathon, I feel like they announced it way too early, and then there is behind the scenes stuff that obviously happened, and there's all these shakeups, and then I feel like they were never able to figure out what Marathon wanted to be, whether it was a single player story game, which I feel was pivoted towards this extraction stuff, and like I feel it is all the worse for it, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I said, if I don't play Marathon at launch, I'm fine. Like it's not a game I feel I'm going to get FOMO about, because as much as I love, like I said, as much as I love Bungie, like I feel like this is going to be a big miss for them, and they can't be missing with Destiny. I feel being on its death throes. Like I don't know anybody who's been playing it as much anymore. Like I know that they just announced the next year of content, but like
Yeah.
I mean like I've kind of outgrown Destiny. Like I would love to see what comes next after that, but like I don't think this is it. This game is not what I feel like they should be focusing on.
I think that's fair. That's very fair. Well, Bobby, if people wanted to find more on the games we're playing, find out more on reviews and everything, where can they do so? Where can they keep up with you online?
Yeah, consolecreatures.com, YouTube, Bluesky, Instagram, and yeah, find us there. I'm B Passionators on all feeds.
Amazing.
Feel free to give me a follow, and yeah, we got lots of stuff happening. We're Canadian media outlet, so just all your support means the world to us. We're doing the best we can, in spite of all the the layoffs in the industry. We're chugging along.
That's right. Yes, your support goes a long way. Whether it's on the website, through the podcast, it really does go a long way for us. Supporting independent media out here. But we appreciate you. You can find me across the internet at svigvari. And yeah, we're gonna keep on trucking along because this summer is just beginning. We have so many games on the horizon. Death Stranding 2 is just around the corner. The Switch 2, Summer Game Fest, everything in between. That's going to be a lot of fun. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in, checking us out. But we'll be back next week. And until then, we'll see you. Bye.